Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. How are you guys doing? Okie dokie. We've got overnight inventory pretty long. You guys are tired? Yeah, I can. Yeah, end of the month, everyone's pretty much worn out. So our overnight inventory is long. Most of the trading is above the previous day close. We hit 775.11 and a quarter. It's a big quarter is the top, 73.91 is the bottom, so we had to look below and fail. So that look below and fail trade, once you start trading size, and you can do this with options as well. If you're an options trader, you use these zones, these levels, right? So when the market looks below and fails, yesterday we had a poor low, that's a sign to get long. And you get long, and the target is the top of the zone. It's just rotation, you know? So the levels are working nicely. If you take a look at, you can use these levels as well if you want. We had a look below and fail of 74.06. If you want a little bit more, how shall I say, if you want a bit more sort of comfort, you can use these levels because the 73.91, it looks below and fails. You can go long 74.06 to 74.10, right? Against 6 as a stop and then sell the 74.96s. So you don't have to wait for 75.11, so you can use these levels as well. We are going to run into some traffic. As you can see, when we got to 75.11, we hit that gap, right? So that gap that we have, that's where the supply is, right? Hey, nice work, Lone Wolf. You know what? That trade where you put that sell, that trade will work nicely in an environment like this where it's slow, like a night market. You want to be a little careful, like if it's RTH and volatile. But at night, if it's slow, that trade can work, that you can put a sell order there. And your risk is like what, 75, 12, 13, right? You're welcome. Good stuff. I love it when a plan comes together, right? No- Hey, the nice thing is, and you don't really have to thank me. Thank the guys who program the ladies who program these algos. Man, they're like so precise. You know, it's amazing how precise. A lot of old traders like me hate algos, and they're always talking against algos and electronic trading. But for us as retail traders, electronic trading makes it so much more precise because your levels work. let's go take a look and see what we've got for. Let me see. Yeah, we've got. Oh, we're under VWAP right now. This is a good liquidation break, right? The overnight point of control is here. I'm very interested to see if this 88 level holds, because you see these two stops here that never got taken. That if we take those, I think a lot of this will start falling out. Right. Hey Ian, how you doing? Good to see you back. Where's the chef? It's been a tough trading month. I found myself. Oh, is that you? Hey, chef. It's a lot easier to call you chef than user K9E7Q. That sounds like, like one of those Russian special agent names. Agent K9E7Q. Don't worry, I've been watching too much Blacklist. That's where I'm getting this from. So if you're wondering, I've been watching too much Blacklist, dreaming about Russian spies. Oh boy. Okay. So we're doing the dance of VWAP now. Let's see if we get some bids coming in. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you don't have to strain your eyes. Hey, Moran, how are you? Good morning. Now, on this half-hour chart, right, we came and tagged the 10 and a halves. I've got a couple of chefs in the room. That's cool. Looks like a look above it and fail of 7,500. When this next candle on the half hour opens, if we stay under 7,500, we could get correction down to this 74.88. But there seems to be a bid just here. I'm going to play the caution side today on the trades. Let's see if that 98 and 3/4 is a sell. You know, when I did these balance zones, I woke up kind of early and I did this balance zone at like 4:30 in the morning and then I fell asleep again. So I'm going to just double check. If you guys think we should redo these zones, let me know. It's a little big. I had not had any coffee yet. If I redo the zones, let me see. And since it's kind of slow, we can actually use the Friday to show you guys how I do this. So what I basically do is I'll look at like an area like this. You see how there's sellers here? They sell here and then they stop selling here, right? That's how I find this balance, right? And then you'll notice that after liquidation, we come right back into that balance, right? So this is a cost basis, right? We take this and then we double it. And that's generally how I do this, right? And then I test it to see whether the balance zones are working. The balance is just a fancy way of saying cost basis, right? So you find a cost basis and then we go and double it to the upside. We'll see how close it is. It's not that great. It's very choppy around here, but that does give you good information on the type of business that's going on, right? And then you double it again. So these are like 5 points as opposed to 10, right? You just stack four of these on top of each other. And then here, you just double it to the downside. And then I'll go set my VWAP. Now a lot of people, you can put VWAP wherever you want. I always put it at the open of Globex, which is 11 o'clock in the UK, 6 o'clock in the States. So let's use that. That's a little bit, I don't know. I think it's a little bit more precise than what I had. So that's how you do the balance zones. For anyone who's watching, it's really simple. All it takes is a little practice, right? When I first started doing this, I drew these things for like a year. The reason why I started with this is because Jim Dalton one day said, you draw a balance of the zone, you double it to the top and you double it to the bottom to get targets. And that was the simplest thing he said. So I grabbed onto it like a life raft and I hung on to that one sentence. He never spoke about it again. Never spoke about it again. Right? So I just started drawing balance zones on everything. Microsoft, Apple, ES, time frames, gold, silver, oil. And I found that it worked pretty well. In fact, it worked so well that I actually forgot to take the trade, or I was too kind of, I was like, oh my God, it worked. Oh crap, I forgot to take the trade. Then it took me a while to figure out how to take the trade. And that was the journey. I mean, the analysis part of this business is not really that difficult. It's the execution, right? And execution is something we all struggle with, right? We all struggle with execution. If people tell you that they don't, they're lying. Because the thing about this business is one day you're executing like a god. The next day, the agenda changes, the order flow changes, and next thing you know, you're just, you're swinging at all the wrong pitches, like in baseball, you know. So that's why I came up with that 5-step method where we go and look at the inventory. So inventory's long, we're looking for trades lower to correct. That's already happened. You go and draw the balance zones, then you watch the zones to see if they work. There you go, Sergio. And see, they're working kind of nicely. 93 quarter, 98 quarter, right? You got a 5. Because what's going on now, let me explain what happens in the business. After a distribution, you put it on sale, right? So this is where this is the warehouse, right? We load up the truck, take it to Saks Fifth Avenue, sell it. Then when it goes on sale, we take it back and wholesale it out to TK Maxx, right? In this area, if we go deep discount, it's down here, right? But here, that back and forth is while they absorb this upper inventory. This is as this drops out, the wholesalers will buy it at 93, sell it at 98, buy it at 93, sell it at 98, until more order flow comes in. They can either go like this or they have to really further discount it. That's the business that's going on here. And that's why this works. It works on every time frame. Like that 75.11, that comes from a balance zone that I did in April 2020. And believe it or not, the levels still work. I mean, it worked within a tick, and those levels, they're 6.5 years old. So the markets are very, very, very mechanical these days. They're very, very precise because they've gotten rid of the humans, right? So, a trading floor that used to have 400 traders is now replaced with 400 servers, and computers, and there's a couple of guys just to make sure that nothing breaks. So everything's very, very precise. What I'm looking for to see if we can get this overnight point of control down a little bit. There seems to be some bids down here at 93, right? So this is nothing more than a half-hour chart. That's really this. That lets us go and we can split apart, right? If you want to look at each half-hour bar completely separately, you can go and do that, right? You can separate them. So this bar's got 2,700 contracts. The bulk of the volume's here. You can see them absorb that volume and push it up. As you get up to 98 and a quarter, you'll see them start to sell into it, right? So that's the cool thing about profile. Now, you can, and I have overdone it where I zoned into the profile so much that I won't trade well. That's why the 1 minute candle is the best for us for execution, right? So you buy 94, you sell 96, 97, right? That's the business right now, right? You're buying the 94s, you're selling 97, right? If it looks above 98 and fails, it'll pop back down. If we take out these levels here to the upside, we could get a little bit more upside, let's see. But this is where you're going to expect selling on the way up, right? So it'll be here, 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 and here. See how there's a seller at 98? Now what you want to see is watch and see if the market offers over 98 or if it offers under 98 and comes back down to VWAP. Right? And just get used to watching the market this way. You'll find that you'll really start picking up on these tiny little subtle, what we call nuances. See, as we go up, let's see if that seller is still there. Right? So had you been long, say 94 or 95, and you sold some at 97, and say you wanted to hold a runner, you'd put your runner at 99, 98 and 3/4. And then your next runner, I'm sorry, I missed this one here. This is where your next, these are going to be your targets, you see? It's really simple. It's the most simple way to trade and scalp where And the reason I did this and do this is because you want, when you're, when you're trading and you're scalping, you want to really, really have your, how shall I say, you want to have your head clear so you can execute. That's really important. You don't want to be over analyzing stuff. Keep the analysis really simple so you can focus on execution. There we go. I don't even have my trading software open. Hang on. If you've noticed, I've been a little lazy this week. I've been a little lazy. Yesterday I had one good trade and then I booked it. I just left. Or as they say in Liverpool, I legged it. That I'm very much a thief lately. I'll hop into a trade, make a little cash, and then I just run. I don't stick around. So back above the previous day, where's Chef? Is he around? That's the trade I was talking about for us to wait. The look below and fail of the previous day high. So if you're buying that now, you'd be putting your stop at 98, brother. And you'd be looking for 3 and 4. Let's see if we get some follow through buying. Nice. Nice. Good stuff. I crashed early last night. How was the earnings thing? I was trying to stay up for Apple earnings. How did it go? The profitable? I don't buy Apple products. I'm too cheap. I, was it? Uh, I'm too cheap to buy Apple products. There's 3.25. Let's see if we get any kind of a reaction. Okay. Actually, the trading's not bad tonight, this morning. It's not that bad. I could. But you know what, Dope Angel? I always hesitate. Yeah, I saw that situational awareness fund getting bailed out. Yeah, it's oh, so they did drop it down to that 313 level, eh? Wow. And then Amazon they spiked it up to 257. Interesting. Okay. Alrighty. 3.25 works. Hey, so the new levels are working, right? We're seeing offers where we thought we would see offers. We're seeing bids where we thought we would see bids. So we can just trade those for the rest of the morning. Good. And I can go get some proper coffee. Man, they were out of Italian coffee at the grocery store, so I bought this other stuff. Holy cannoli, that's just bad. Oof. Nice work, Moran. Beautiful. You're getting back in the groove. Getting back in the groove. Nice. Sometimes this market is, how do I say, it's kind of like that buddy that you have in school who's really annoying, but you still love the guy, but he gets you into trouble a lot if you follow him into the wrong situations, right? That usually happens a lot, Dope Angel, in the fund industry. Fund managers prey on each other. They are cannibals. They eat their own. We're looking for 8. If this thing breaks to 6s, if you're long, you can stay long. Make sure you have your orders up because we're going to hit some traffic probably in the 7s and 8s. That was a really nice look below and fail of yesterday's high. Cool. So we found the bid this morning, my friends. We found the bid. The bid is here, right there. Nice. Okay. Oh, good, good, good. So, folks, I'm away Monday and Tuesday. I'll be back on Wednesday, but Wednesday afternoon. So the morning sessions will continue Thursday and Friday of next week. I apologize for that. But can't argue with the girlfriend. So it's okay. It's the end of the month. Yes, it does take time to accumulate at a lower price, Ben. Unless, ooh, this is a good question. After a liquidation, have you guys ever heard of something called buying retention? It's something I've spoken about, but it's something that retail traders and most institutional traders never ever talk about. The reason I know about buying retention is because I used to pay people to buy my stock, right? When you grow up in the penny stock world, you actually have to pay people to buy stock in your deal or get their clients to buy stock, right? In the old days, we used to call this greasing brokers. It wasn't like you never did it, but your clients would do it. They'd go to a brokerage house and they would go, listen, if you guys buy 1 million shares, right? For every share that you buy, we'll give you half a share offshore or 2 shares offshore, right? Oh yeah, the penny stock world, that's the way it is, right? Even Wall Street, they pay to market stocks. That's why you'll see articles about companies before they go public. That's advertising. So it brings you guys in to buy so smart money can liquidate. So here's the thing. When you pay people to buy a stock, for example, say this is a stock, right? And you pay people to be buying here, when it breaks this level, what is the percentage of people who will hold versus the percentage of people who liquidate? Right? Here we had good buying retention because it is month end. Right? Generally around month end, buying retention is pretty good. So what you do is when you take out these lows, you flush out a lot of the weak hands. The wholesalers buy it and then they resell it. So if, for example, how we do this is say Sergio is a stock promoter and he goes, JJ, I can bring in 3 for 1. So for every dollar you give me, I'll bring in $3 of buying, right? Or for every dollar you bring me, I'll give you $5 of buying, right? Great. So so I'm gonna get you to get your clients to buy 1 million shares between 5 and 6, right? And I'll pay you like 300 grand or 200 grand to bring in that buying. So I sell 1 million shares between 5 and 6, but when the stock breaks 6 and goes to 4, what is the percentage of these people that Sergio has brought in that will dump versus how many? So how much do I have to buy back at 4? That is the concept of buying retention, and it is never spoken about. When you look at companies like Apple, right, because the stock is so well institutionally held, the buying retention is amazing because only when it slumps like this, only the swing traders and the spec money pushes out. But the people who are long for 30, 40 years, they don't sell. So you get these big runs back up, right? That's why I've done a video, it's on my YouTube, why markets go and hit new highs after a flush. It has to do with buying retention and it has to do with market structure and supply. It's a fascinating business. But yeah, buying retention is one of those things that unless you've paid somebody to buy stock, because when the stock starts to come apart, some guys they'll put people in your stock in the morning, by afternoon they're gone, right? Like some guys they'll just bring in guys to flip, right? Like you pay them 200 grand, they'll bring in 1 million shares of buying in the morning, but by afternoon every single share has been sold. They just buy it and they're in and out. So with guys like that, you know that you got to sell everything you can when they bring in the buying, right? You're really, really heavy on the sell. With more professional people who bring in longer term investors or longer term traders, you can sell a little bit more gingerly and build the chart. Otherwise, you got to pump it, dump it, and buy it back, pump it, and dump it again. Now, I'm not saying that's happening in a regulated market like the futures, but the concept is still the same. Whether it's manipulated or whether it happens naturally, the mechanics are still the same. Yeah, Chef, the markets now have the single stock futures started? Does anybody have quotes on those? Where are you getting your quotes? Anyone? I think Apple. Let's see how it opens this morning, right? No problem, Ben. Buying retention is somebody, it's kind of one of the dirty little secrets that nobody talks about, right? It's very, first of all, nobody will ever tell you that they pay people to buy their stock because that's illegal, right? I've got nothing to hide. I'm just wondering where the quote is on single stock futures. Like, how do you? where do you find the symbol? Is it CME? I don't know. I'll have to look it up. If anybody can find it, let me know. I want to start tracking them. See if that apple chart's loaded yet. Okay, crab apple. All right. I'm just running a Here's a 5-minute chart on Apple where it closed. So let's see, Chef, if Apple can get back above 313, you're going to be looking at sellers here, just around 318. And this is a 5-minute chart. And the next sell level will be up here, just around 321. So that's where you're gonna, you'll see some action. We'll see what happens when it opens this morning. You know what? I'm gonna send you the chart in the room. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? I'll put it in your Discord messaging. There, I sent it. Exactly. At the end of the month, we used to, we buy it at the end of the month to show the holdings in the client statement and make sure they're marked up so the clients are happy, right? Yeah. Okay, so our sellers are up here now. Let's see if we get some bids at 75.01. Nice. Way to focus and concentrate, Moran. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. RDT. Is that Reddit thing? Listen to me. I sound so old. Is it that Reddit thing? That web page looks like it's from like 1996, doesn't it? What I got weekly here. Let me go daily. Oh yeah, it's just in a big balance here, right? Hang on, let's just check the ES. Is it doing anything interesting? So this method that I use, it's not my method. It works on everything really. So what you do is, if you're interested, you can go and draw a volume profile from the top to the bottom. You see all the volume here. This is the accumulated volume. So that's your cost basis, right? If you need a little bit, if you want to cheat a little bit, right? You go and you draw. You could even tighten that up, I guess, right? Let's see if that works. So we got a bit of a little cost basis here. Let's see if I can get this any better. That high, that low, that high. I know this seems random, but trust me, it's not. It's just that I've done so many of these that when I was doing these, I used to see them in my sleep. right? So there's your Reddit, if that is Reddit. So there's your cost basis. This is 2 times, and look, there's that gap down here. So as soon as we came into that gap, we hit supply and we got that move down, right? So in this stock that there is a seller here. And as soon as you hit that seller, it'll look above, look above, look above, but there's a constant seller at this level, right? Actually, you can move that up here because those 3 candles have the exact same high, right? So there's your seller, Chef. 208.17. And we'll see what happens next in the stock. What I would wait, if I was going long, I'd look for a look below and fail of 131. I threw that in your direct messaging as well, Chef. You can check. Now go get some sleep. Get some rest. Now let's see if we can take this cheap inventory and sell it up here to these people. Ah, cool. You guys in the room okay? On the half-hour candles, we've had that constant seller at 75.11, 75.10. If we pop over 75.10, you can use the 1-minute chart. We'd be looking for the 18s, right? And that's pretty much it for me this morning. Folks, please take advantage of the offer for the room. Steve is running another special. It's been a tough month of keeping traders, alive. So if you want to learn how to trade, come into our room will really help. We have time. I'm only going away for 2 days, but I'll be back on Wednesday. So if you need anything, reach out. Have a wonderful, wonderful morning. Stay out of trouble. Don't take candy from strange market makers, and we will see you in the afternoon session. Good stuff, Chef. Have a good night. Don't burn out the eyes, eh? Make sure you take some breaks. And that goes for everyone too, right? Don't trade overtired. We'll see you guys in a few hours. Thanks so much. Bye for now, folks. Have a great weekend if we don't see you in the afternoon session. Bye for now.